till then, everybody can tell me how many of you are vaccinated with the first dose, second dose, because we all are excited to join the university soon. And without the vaccine, it's quite not really possible. So write in the chat box how many of you are vaccinated and let me know. First dose only. That's great. When is the second dose date? Okay. First dose done. Chirag, that's nice. Okay. Both done. That's great, guys. Soon the university will send us a notice of joining and coming back. I hope that's pretty soon because we all are excited to come back to the campus. And since you guys are freshers, the excitement is more. I can understand. That's great. So we have students from which department? Let me know in the chat box from which department you all are. Oh, that's great. Okay, so we have students from the same department. That's nice. So let's start the event because Third is here with us. Yes, Third is here. We can start. A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are safe and doing well. I'm Sanskriti Mishra, your host for the event. I welcome you all to this wonderful event, the lovely audience and dignitaries present here today. We are back again to witness the Induction 2021, the most awaited part of the event, an interaction session with a very esteemed personality, our special guest for today. He has received his engineering education from BITS Pilani and IIT Roorkee. He has worked at Rockwell Semiconductor USA as design engineer and later at AMS Austria as process engineer. He has experience in key areas of microelectronics like CMOS processes, development and integration, VLSI design, IC test and characterization, MEMS design and process. He also has a keen interest in spreading VLSI education and has conducted various workshops and lectures at most of the IITs and NITs. He's presently the group director responsible for all R&D work of the semiconductor laboratory and is leading a team of over 80 scientists. He is H.S. Jatana, sir, scientist and group head, R&D Semiconductor Laboratory, Department of Space, Government of India. We are so delighted to have you here with us today, sir. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, madam, and good afternoon to all the participants. And should I start now?
Sir, I would request Deputy Dean, Center for Professional Enhancement, lovely Professional University, Mr. Narendra Gurcha, sir, to kindly welcome our guest for today and share a few words with us.
Thank you so much, Sanskriti. I think it's a matter of great honor, and it gives us immense pleasure in welcoming Shri H.S. Jatana ji, Scientist and Group Head, R&D, Semiconductor Laboratory, Department of Space, Government of India. I'm sure his session will leave the audience enriched and wanting for more, because the kind of experience that he brings will add immense value to our students and to the university as well. I'm sure, listening to someone who's seen the entire ecosystem also evolve, I think will make a big difference in our lives, and we'll also get to know, what is the latest which has gone into whether it's VLSI design, right test, or characterization. And I'm sure these students are also very keen. They would be keen to listen to Sir, because I believe he had a wonderful journey, and probably for us, the kind of knowledge, immense knowledge that he can share is something that we continuously look forward to. I think we couldn't have asked for more, Sir. Thank you so much for sparing your time today, and we look forward to your words of wisdom. And over to you, Shri H.S. Jatanaji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So again, my thanks to you for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to interact with your students. So my talk will be basic. I will be covering all aspects. So I will start. I guess most of the students, rather all of the students, they are from a science or a engineering or a technology background, which includes architecture as well. So I will start asking a question from all of us. What is science? So I'm not looking for any Oxford definition of the science, but basically science means decoding, understanding the nature, decoding the laws or principles of nature. So basically we are trying to understand the nature. And there are three broad categories in which we are doing. First is the biology, which deals with all the living things, living organisms. Like plants is also a living organisms. So biology deals with all where life is, the living cells. And then we have a lot of materials. In terms of, we have rocks, we have minerals, we have gases like nitrogen, oxygen, and copper, iron, ore, lot of material on the earth, inside the earth's crust, in the oceans, lot of material. So study of those material, what those are, and how those materials react with each other. So that is a broad chemistry. And then we have physics, which are where we study the laws of nature, right? Why a wind blows, why a temperature rises, why there is a rain, or things like that. So all the laws of nature we are trying to understand. We study in class 10th, 11th, 12th. So these laws, science basically is nothing but we are trying to understand. God has created this planet, and we are trying to understand the various principles, various laws, which are not our laws. They are the laws made by the God. We are trying to understand those, and this is what the science is, how this universe came into existence, the Big Bang theory or like that. So many people, a lot of work goes on in understanding the physics. What is the smallest particle? In sixth or seventh we learned it's atom, but then we learned there is still smaller than atom, electron is there. Atom consists of electron, proton, neutrons. So eighth grader or a ninth grader will tell electron is the smallest, but there are even smaller particles than electron. So all these things, and we are trying to increase our knowledge. We are trying, it's not that we know everything. A lot of things we know, only 2% of the entire universe. 98% still has to be known. So that is and a lot of people, a lot of scientists, they are working hard to know all these things. Next, I come to technology. What is the meaning of technology? How do we define technology? Basically, technology means applications of science. So we apply the science, principles of science. It's the application of science to process materials, all to process information to make a product. And to make a product, our idea is to use our knowledge of science and the materials or the information to make a product, and that product is useful for the mankind. We can process materials also, like you can process the iron and other things. You make automobiles, you make train, you process that. You can make other things. You process the information. We call it IT, information technology, where we are processing the data, we are processing the information. So this is the meaning of a technology. What is engineering? What is the difference between this? So engineering is, while doing this, while processing this, you need certain skills, you need certain tools, you need certain techniques. So understanding of those come under an overview of engineering. So with this kind of a background, I will be covering the current hot topics, latest topics in science as well as the technology side, which most of you will be aware. So first of all, what is that most significant, which has a profound impact on our lives, the way we work, the way we live? If you see in the last 20 years, telephony, you can see 25 years back, the kind of telephone it was there, landline, but now you have a phone in your hand, which you can use for even getting the radio and a TV also in that. So no other branch in science or technology has that kind of an impact on the human life, which the microelectronics or VLSI has. Miniaturized small transistors you are able to make, and those small tiny transistors, you are able to design big circuits which have wide applications that we have seen the in the last 20 years, how the functionality, how the size, how the shape of a telephone, of a television, of a radio has changed in the last 20 years. All of us have seen that. Even your computer, your laptop, your desktop, you have iPads. So there are n number of gadgets which all of you are used to it. So that is one thing, that is one part. The hardware is getting innovated every 2 years, every 1.5 to 2 years. So a lot of work being going on in that particular direction. And nowadays we are talking about, there's a lot of data being generated. Any device, it generates data. I will give you an example. You have a, you want to install a security system in your house. Nowadays it's very cheap, 30,000 40,000 rupees. You can have 3 4 cameras installed at the main gate, main entrance, and or in the backyard. So what this that camera will do, they will keep on filming. If there is any intruder, it will take pictures. Okay, and that, if you are away, if you are not in the same city, so you can assess your house, you can see those pictures through internet and through an app. So it's as simple as that. And if there is any intrusion, that system can send an email, that system can send an SMS, or it can call at your number also, that right now somebody is trying to enter into your house. So this kind of an application and facility is available at a very low cost. Cost is also not very high, only one time investment, 30,000 40,000. So you become fully secure. So in this, lot of data is being generated, so we are able to process that data. So data analysis is another big area. People talk about big data. Big data means huge amount of data. The data has to be stored first somewhere. Memories, you need very good memories, very efficient memories. Data has to be processed to get useful. The data has to be processed. You need processors, very fast processors. And for example, I give another example. Lot of innovations on electric vehicle, the cars, trains, trucks, buses, which are run by batteries, run by electricity, because our petroleum fuel is limited another 30 40 years, and it creates air pollution because of emission of carbon monoxide and all those other sulfur and things like that. So batteries, electric vehicle is more safe. It doesn't create much of the pollution. Going one step further, you have seen there are 2 3 companies who have made driverless cars. That car doesn't need a driver. So this means lot of cameras are there in the car, radar, sonar, lot of sensors are put in all directions. So if the car is, for example, if the car is going at a very high speed, 130 kilometer per hour in a highway, and suddenly some object comes in the front, which is some 100 meter away from the car. Now, those cameras which are there on the car, they will be able to capture that object. So that capturing of the data, lot of sensors will be there. So they will capture the data and give to a computer. So the computer has to process that data. And that computer has to make a decision whether to apply brake or to turn left or to turn right. If you have to turn right, whether there is enough space on the road, by how much degree you have to turn right. So all those things, decision has to be made, and those decision has to be made in very very less time, within microsecond, less than a second. So very fast. This means it's an online real time system, online and real time. We have to make a decision based on the information, based on the data which is coming. So that is why you need the processors which are very very fast, the processors which are sitting inside the vehicle, inside your car. So that is known as edge computing. You are computing, your computer is sitting in the car at the edge. That is another big area. And to analyze this data, we need artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. That is another field where a lot of work is being done. A lot of new companies are being getting established, and I think in the next 5 years, there is a lot of potential in this particular area, AI, ML, or deep learning. Many of the jobs which IT jobs, many of the students after passing they go for IT jobs. I think in the next 3-4 years those IT jobs will vanish completely because of this AI, ML. So this, there are a lot of new happenings. So this is one area. I have mentioned about driverless cars. Not only driverless cars, but driverless trains, planes, drones, which doesn't have any driver, and you are able to control by while sitting in your control room. And then we have a huge range of these artificial intelligence, AI, ML, and deep learning, mechanical, micro electromechanical systems, very small mechanical systems, like very fine needles, very fine, your lasers, very fine mirrors in the size of microns, very small mechanical systems like rotor, motor, very small. That also has huge potential. Small cameras you can put inside the vein, you can put inside the body. Endoscopy, you can put a small camera, it goes inside the stomach, take pictures of the body inside the stomach, it can take pictures there. So a lot of innovations in the medical, the way we are treating the patients. In fact, this is the third you can say generation, the way doctors work. The first one was when a patient was going to a physician, the doctor used to see his pulse, see his nerve, see his pulse. So by that he used to get an idea about the he used to diagnose that. That is the first. Second came around 1910 when X-ray was invented. So you can have a scan of the body by X-rays. You can take an X-ray, see the defect. That is the second generation. Third generation is when you are putting something inside the body to take pictures. X-rays taking picture of the body from outside. But now you can, your camera is so small that you are able to put inside the body and it can take the pictures and send outside so that the physician can examine the shape of the internal organs. So this is the some of the innovations in diagnosis of the disease. Then a lot of new drugs, how new drugs are invented, how new vaccines are invented. You need how genome decoding. You need lot of computations where you need lot of supercomputers. Your lot of good, very powerful simulation tools are needed. Supercomputers are needed. So all those things, engineering is helping the medical fraternity for to be able to diagnose very efficiently, to be able to cure the patient with new kinds of drugs, new kinds of vaccines. So all these things is the application of electronics in healthcare system. Surgeries, you have robotic surgeries. Okay, so robotic is very precise because the surgeon hands might, if you have to, if he has to cut 2 mm precise cut may not be possible sometimes by a surgeon, but robot will cut exactly 2 mm. It cannot be even 2.01 because it works in a negative feedback system. So that kind of surgeries where robotic arms is used is very helpful. And people are talking, not only talking, people are using these kind of things in practical applications. Many applications people are using this. So you will hear a lot of terms like big data, cloud computing, quantum computing, a different set of computers which works very fast, data analytics. So these are the new areas which are coming, and people have to go opt for that. But the basic foundation of these to understand this is your basic mathematics, basic physics, chemistry. Those have to be very strong. You have to understand the science first, because I told you this technology is the application of science. If you don't understand the science, you will not be able to understand anything related to the technology or engineering. So a very good background in science is essential. Then people are talking about biotechnology, nanotechnology. Nanotechnology, a lot of new materials you are able to make because of placement of atoms in a particular fashion, such that you get a very unique property. Like some material, if you organize the atom in such a manner, you are able to make a thread which is very strong, a lot of strength. You will not be able to see that thread. It's a very fine in nature, but it can hold 100 kg of weight. It can hold. So that is the strength of that material. Lot of paints people are making by nanotechnology, which has no effect of your rain or sun. So once you paint your house, it will last for 50 years, 60 years, like that. So a lot of new materials are coming. People are inventing a lot of new materials with the help of nanotechnology. So that is one area where a lot of innovations are happening. Another area which I will emphasize is the space applications. Space technology. Space technology means making satellites, launch vehicles, rockets. Satellites are of different types, very heavy weight, like 4 quintal, 5 quintal weight, big satellites, small satellites, micro satellites, 5 kg, 20 kg. Okay, so a cluster of satellites you can have, and you can have very small satellite launch vehicles, which we call it a rocket. Satellites have numerous applications because it's an eye in the sky. It can see what's happening in the on the earth. It can also tell you about the minerals. If there are, what sort of minerals are there in the ocean at the depth, satellite can see, including the earth crust where water is there. Satellite can tell you those things also. Satellites also help in weather forecasting. They are able to see which way wind is blowing, what is the humidity, what is the pressure, what is the other direction of your wind, and things like that. Cloud, how they are stable or moving. So all that information. Then your control of your aeroplanes. A lot of aeroplanes are flying in the air, so they are able to control that navigation of those. Satellites are being used for those. So there are wide applications. Telemedicine, tele-education. A teacher is sitting at one end, and he is able to address around 100 classrooms, like that, through tele-education. So this satellite applications, numerous applications in the satellite also. And the beauty is all branches of engineering, they are used in space applications. You have mechanical, you have aeronautical, you have computer science, you have electrical, you have electronics, you have chemicals, you have explosives, you have civil, and everything is used in this particular. Space technology is a beautiful example of a system engineering, a system design, where everything is used And the basis of the backbone of all these is mathematics and physics. Mathematics cannot be ignored. Basic concepts of mathematics, they are very, very essential if a student is pursuing a career in science and engineering. The fundamentals in mathematics have to be very, very strong. And basic sciences, basic engineering, basic technologies, I will suggest to students to give priority, to give emphasis on learning those new concepts, learning those techniques, and don't go randomly for one or two scripts. All these script writings, they're short lived. Another 3 4 years, you will find most of these jobs will vanish. You will have hardcore software jobs and like compiler related, assembler related. But these application related jobs, which most of the people, 90% of the people today are doing, those will be taken over by your AIML only, softwares only. So either in a computer science, go for the hardcore computer science subjects, try to understand that. Don't go for very learning one language and making a web page and or a website is one part, but not for a good career. Or go for the core engineering subjects, and where you have to understand physics, you have to understand materials, you have to understand the basic concepts, whether it's electrical engineering or chemical engineering. So that is important. So I was given half an hour. I think I have completed half an hour, and if there are any questions, I would you can please ask, and I will try to answer.
Thank you so much, sir. We all know science is a vast field and we are getting along with the technology. So, thank you so much for enlightening our students with your knowledge. I'm sure the audience had a lot of things to grasp from today's session. Students, do you have any questions for sir? Sir, there is one question in the chat box. What about forensic science?
Forensic science is it's a very good question. Nowadays, our system of investigation by the police is totally unconventional, unscientific, and just they will put pressure on a person, and he will make some statement. When it goes to the court, he will say it is the policeman who has beaten me. That's why I have said this. Otherwise, I am not involved. But they don't collect the evidence. So collection of evidence, that is very, very important. Wherever there is any crime has happened, so you have to collect the evidence in a very scientific manner. A lot of scientific tools are there. DNA is there. If somebody has done a murder of somebody, so that because that person has touched him, by touching also, so there you are able to see the DNA, track the DNA of that person. So likewise, so there are many techniques where you are able to analyze the scene of the crime, and you are able to collect some evidences in a scientific manner, and then you are able to confront that person. Look, this is the evidence, you were there at that time. Mobile phone also helps you, because if you are carrying a mobile, you know that where you are, your XY coordinates are known. So you are at a particular place that can easily be found out. Lot of cameras have been put in Chandigarh. If you see in the main roads, lot of cameras have been put. So they are capturing all those who is going on this road and like that. So all these things help in collection of a evidence in a scientific manner. And then psychology also plays a very important role. Normally in countries like Europe and America, these investigation agencies, they are trained in psychologically also. How to address, how to question a criminal on psychology also. So you are able to, because finally the criminals, they will not be in a position to tell you the truth. He will try to evade your questions. So you have to ask the question in such a manner that truth comes out of it. And for that, you should have some collected some evidence also. You are able to show him, look, this is what the evidence is. You were there at this particular time. You were there at this spot. So you are able to see that whether he's telling lie or whether he's telling the truth or not. So forensic is quite useful. There are a lot of forensic labs nowadays. Somebody has made a video clip and circulated. People say it's not my clip, it is morphed, it is fake. Some pictures are added. So they are able to, forensic people, they have to tell There are techniques whether this image is modified or somebody's head is put or somebody's face is put or video is modified like that, or audio is modified. It's not your voice, it's somebody else's voice. So a lot of you can say from job point of view many people are doing, but there is limited scope in forensic science also. It's a good branch.
फिर बंद हो गया.
So there is a disturbance. Anurag, can you switch off your mic?
Biotechnology means it's a basically integration of technology with biology. So biology like genome decoding, DNA decoding. So a lot of all those new drugs you have to make. Though there is a pharmacy also comes, pharmaceutical sciences also come in this. But microbiology, studying of micro bacteria, virus, study of all those things. Biotechnology, where how to use technology to address the medical related issues. So because as you know, these drugs when you are making, so a lot of simulations, genome decoding, all those things are done. So it's a basically a engineering. Making of a drug is basically an engineering, but drug is used for a in a medical for treatment of a patient. So biotechnology, microbiology, these are lot of upcoming biochemistry, which is related to the various like new drugs, salts, alkalines, chemicals, different types of advanced drugs, specialized drugs, life-saving drugs, how to make those. So all these branches, they are quite popular and they are quite relevant. But only thing is, it's not the BSc. It's you have to study for a long time, probably MSc from a good university to get a hold of all these things. These are upcoming branches, and right now there is the scope. Some scope is there from job point of view in all these, but very limited. Like PGI and All India Institute of Medical Sciences, they will take few people. Some universities might take few people in a for the teaching assignments. Very few industries are also there which are making drugs and vaccines. They might take people who have their degrees in these biochemistry or biotechnology or microbiology and things like that. So all these are upcoming branches, and they're good branches.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering. Do we have any more questions for sir? I guess that's all. So now that we have come to the end of this wonderful event, I would request Deputy Director, Division of Industry Interface, lovely Professional University, Mr. Vaneet Arora, sir, to extend a vote of thanks to our special guest. Vaneet Arora, sir. I guess he's having some issues. So we have one more question from a student. It's about biomedical sciences. Yeah, biomedical engineering. He's asking about.
Biomedical engineering deals about your these lot of devices. If you happen to go to a hospital, there are a lot of monitors which will measures the various parameters of a patient like ECG, EEG, your oxygen content when you breathe out the air. So how many gases you are breathing out, what is the content of those. So doctor wants to know those things. So that is the biomedical, you can say. Lot of equipments are there, pacemaker which is put in the heart, and hearing aid is another such equipment. So it deals with all these equipments which are helpful for the patient to monitor the critical parameters of the patient. So doctors use in a hospital, if you see, there are a lot of monitors put on a patient who is under critical unit. So they will measure the various parameters of the patient. And if any parameters is out of the range, it will raise an alarm. And drug is also administered using surgical pumps. It will slowly put some drug in the body, like you anesthesia is put slowly in the body every time. And so lot of these equipments are used. So those, it's biomedical engineering is the study of those equipments. Many companies are there who are making these kind of equipments.
Thank you so much, sir. Vaneet Arora, sir, is having internet issues, so he'll be not there in the event. So
Okay,
thank you so much, sir,
thank
for
you ji,
joining
thank
us.
you madam, thank you, bye.
Thank you, sir. And finally, thank you, everyone. Thank you, freshers, for joining us today. I hope this was a wonderful session and you all had to like learn and grasp a lot of things from the session. I hope you enjoyed listening to him, and all the best for your future, and do well, stay safe, and stay strong.